Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about the third song on my Numbers EP. It's called 5069. If you guys want to know more about the EP, the first and second song, there should be videos about them as well as the actual songs in the description and or recommended videos. I'm going to talk about the meaning of this song, why I wrote it, why it's important to the concept of the EP, and I'm going to explain a few lyrics too. So this project is more than the connections between numbers you can and cannot control. It's also about how you feel about all these numbers. I've found that the numbers you can control, it's not easy to control them. Lots of us find that. But I've also found it easier to control by changing how I feel about the way I look at the ones that I can't control. Numbers are really kind of just information. But what isn't information? Isn't the universe just physical and non-physical? I mean, there's more to it than that. Like, we have time, space, and in this song I talk about communication. The transferring of selective information from one mind to another, from one time to another, from one location to another. Each song is a representation of a dimension in... I have no fucking clue. Most of this shit is so subjective that you can put any spin on it that you want. If anything stands out enough about my music compared to other rappers, it may or may not be that alone. I don't know. These songs are supposed to sound like they belong on top 40 radio stations, but they're about topics that are so profound, in my opinion, that it's like, how the fuck do you even market them? Someday, I believe that the world will know about my work, and I hope that by that time, either it will be in a better place, or it will be in the process of becoming a better place. But when I look at it nowadays, both of those things those are what I see. And whether that's the case or not, hoping to ensure that it is that way, or stays that way in the future, that's why I make my music. 5069 is the last 4 digits of my phone number. My phone number is 484-866-5069, like I say in the song, and lots of my music is meant to just answer questions anyone has for me about
anything.
If people know my music and or videos, they know about me to the point where a Q&A is just kind of unnecessary. Not just to myself, but also to them. If I know these numbers of mine, that's one thing, but to use them to the advantage of my personal growth and self-discovery, that's another. But for people to listen to my music and be encouraged by it to eventually start trying new things out for themselves that they didn't before, for the sake of their own personal growth and self-discovery,
that's closer to my end goal.
Much closer. But this song is basically a call to action, or an invitation at that, if you will. I can't imagine how many people will hear the whole thing and not realize that in the chorus, I'm saying,
here, tell me how you've been doing, tell me how you feel about yourself, tell me everything you want in life, and tell me how you plan to get it. This is Samuel, hit me up. This is my number.
I want to see how many people hear it and it just flies over their heads, but I also want to see how many people do it, because most people can't tell you all those things about themselves without putting some thought into it. I don't even know my exact answers. That's why I kind of just go the fuck off in the second verse about my life and where it's going. In the beginning of the song, you hear a guy talking about these products and how he wants everyone to be satisfied by them, but not to the point where they're putting too much time into the products. And if you can guess, this is the Apple CEO, Tim Cook. A big worry of mine, as you can guess, by listening to my song Jacket from the Samsara EP that I dropped early 2018, I'll drop a link to that in the description, is the evolution of technology.
I'm looking at you. He's looking at you. Looking at you. He's looking at you. Looking at you. In a flannel jacket. In a flannel jacket.
We begin to behave like it, as it in turn is beginning to behave like us. So I try to use technology to further my self-advancement, because that's all I fucking think about. How can I do that for me? How can other people do that for them? How can I help them learn to do it in any way that they prefer? The ultimate sum of human will is what we're looking at here, because any inability to affect that is what primarily keeps me up at night. People let external pieces of information govern what goes on in their internal worlds. Is this not literally insane?
Running from my understandings of the past. Gotta unlearn what I did early in my childhood. I grasped.
I remember feeling super victimized when I was younger. I just felt like the victim. Then I came into this philosophy where it's like, I am the alpha male. I am the dominance. And then I became, the opposite of the victim. That was like the first time I felt like I had to walk backwards and in turn unlearn how to walk forward. But then I started to hit diminishing marginal returns, because that philosophy went so overboard overboard in my life and in my head that it began really negatively affecting all of it. So I found another philosophy, a newer age one, perhaps, that balanced it out, which I still follow. There's not really a name for it. I guess the other philosophy was a pocket or branch of this bigger one. For convenience purposes, let's call this new philosophy self-growth and leave it at that. But lots of things I learned through self-growth. When I tried to move to Atlanta, I specifically had to unlearn and replace with, there were so many things and names for them. People called them street principles, which are, they are what they are, but there are limits they place on us as beings. Are there not? And I'll have a video on that. It's about the biggest problem in hip-hop. Maybe not from an insider or outsider perspective. My impact on the culture, let alone culture, is miniature right now. But part of growing it for me is spreading the ideas I tend to throw out there. The point is, I constantly have to unlearn things and relearn new ones just to get my way in life. And it becomes a little exhausting sometimes. It's like I'm constantly running from the past, only to repeatedly create new ones.
Radical urban requirements and master rapidity ain't had before, but all that's in the progress. And your talk is if y'all are a godsend, and I talk as if I am too. All of us really operate on the same drive, then we're biologically sound.
At the beginning of this Elon Musk interview with Axiom, Jim Van de High, some of these names make me feel like that one substitute teacher, He says the world is changing in ways where we're gonna have new ethical debates, new business debates, new political debates, and all of these will be radically upended, and it's gonna require humanity to think at a pace that we're not used to. That's basically what I meant. But it's all in a progress. And a lot of people talk to me when I'm in such a hurry to get this message, to get these messages out to the world. They'll talk to me as if they're smarter, or they have some sort of benefit that I don't understand, or consequence, like there's this advantage to understanding all of it. This game, there's something I haven't considered that they want me to consider. The difference is, a majority of us seem to operate on the same premise in this regard, because that's how a lot of us, I feel like, are designed to operate. We don't think naturally about long-term things. We think more in terms of what somebody has to say about us than possible threats to civilization. This is so counterintuitive, it makes no fucking sense. But it is biology and immediate concern. What's sad about that is that what feeds one feeds the other, and how toxic that can be. What is the solution? I don't know how to describe it in one sentence, but hopefully someone can find it in my music, if not somewhere else. Perhaps we all know it deep down within. So that's what I have to say about my song 5069. If you guys haven't heard it or the EP, it can be found somewhere around my face right now. Let me know what you guys have to say about it. All feedback is appreciated.